Hello, class. So, for this week discussion board, we are discussing weaknesses of mental disorders regarding the causation by chemical imbalances in the brain, and discussing different type of drug tolerance and ethical concern with pharmacy companies being allowed to advertise directly to consumers. So, in the Old Testament, it was believed that mental illnesses were due to sin of the person or the person of the ancestors. It could be because of generational curses or due to demonic possession. So those were weaknesses in the area because they didn't know per se what was causing the person to act the way they were acting. But once science developed and they did more research on the topic itself, they found out that mental illnesses were a product of something more complex. We as Christians believe that they are mental illnesses that are due to demonic possession or any spiritual force. But now with science, we also do know that majority of mental illnesses are due to chemical imbalances in the brain. On the other hand, talking about tolerance and type of drug tolerance. What is tolerance? Tolerance can be described as the reduce in response to a drug dose. There are several types of drug tolerance. What is dependence? Dependence can be described as the physical tolerance that is produced by the repeated administration of a drug. So, since there are several types of tolerance, one of them is metabolic tolerance, which is one that produces an increase in the on the enzymes. So another type could be cross tolerance. This is when one or more drugs are mixed with or without alcohol, and this will produce an alteration in the enzymes. Another type is tolerance, cellular tolerance. And this is when the receptors adapt to a specific drug. And you can see that the brain is already adapting, so it doesn't go any further. So it's different from associative tolerance, which displays tolerance to a drug, but not in all the settings. And then lastly, we have behavioral and state dependent tolerance. So in behavior tolerance, this one helps the individual to perform better or to learn a task better while under the influence of a drug. And yeah, so when it comes to pharmaceutical companies being allowed to advertise directly to consumers, it arises several ethical concerns. So, for example, pharmaceutical companies have access to clients to promote their medication without the need of a doctor. So, what does this mean? If they don't need to have a doctor to promote it. What they do is that since the client doesn't know what the medication will do or the side effects and none of that, and doesn't know mixing of medication, if the client is going through something and they advertise something very let's say very good for what they're feeling or for whatever thing they're going through, what their advertisements are doing is just buying the consumer so that they can get to buy their product. So for example, antidepressant drugs either are the second largest drugs prescribed, and it has gained the popularity because of the bombarding of advertisement to promote them, because of these big companies promoting everywhere. So nowadays, they're not only promoting it to or targeting adults, but they're also including children now as their next target. So these are the ethical concerns that this might bring. So thank you. Have a good night.